My name is Andrew Hanna. I'm 6 feet tall, lift weights, and I'm a member of a social fraternity. I am a man. I was born in Cairo and moved to a predominantly Caucasian community on Long Island when I was 5 years old. As part of a Middle Eastern family moving to the United States in the wake of 9/11, the transition was difficult. My parents, sister, and I faced discrimination and as a result, had trouble assimilating into American culture. Our hardships were reflected in our actions. My mother would keep her voice down at the supermarket to avoid others overhearing her speaking Arabic, and my sister, she would run home from school to avoid the other students. Yet somehow, my father always managed to remain stoic. Growing up, I had a lot of trouble fitting in. I was ignored, made fun of, and rejected entirely. I knew that my father, who's the biggest role model in my life, worked in Manhattan and dealt with tremendous discrimination each and every day. However, despite this difficulty, he never showed any signs of weakness or vulnerability. I wanted to be a man, just like my dad, so I pretended like everything was okay, even when everything wasn't. After all, that's what men are supposed to do, right? In the eyes of others, I was this young boy with a cute little smirk, chubby cheeks, and a quiet personality. Everyone thought I was okay because I always made it seem that way, but that couldn't be further from the truth. In reality, I was a young boy who feared that eye contact would reveal his insecurities, who spent lunch sitting alone so nobody would see the handwritten love notes packed with his food, who spent recess with his teachers to avoid harassment from his peers. As a teenager, I suffered from severe social anxiety and mental instability, but pretended like I was okay. I was so focused on being a man that I pushed myself to an extreme state of apathy and emotionlessness, which negatively influenced my day-to-day. Throughout my life, the societal definition of being a man was drilled into my head. Of course, I was taught healthy characteristics of manhood, such as fighting through difficulty. However, I was also taught unhealthy characteristics of manhood, such as internalizing that same difficulty. I put on a facade, a mask, that showed people I was okay when I wasn't. I became really good at pretending, and it wasn't until I came to Rutgers that things began to change. I experienced a moment of clarity speaking with a good friend and role model of mine. The conversation evolved into his telling of a personal childhood experience. My friend told me that he was sexually assaulted as a child and has suffered with severe mental health issues since. Thoughts of suicide, depression, and extreme anxiety constantly plagued his mind due to his internalization of the incident. His inability to speak openly about his issues resulted from his need to conform to a manly stereotype. But is that what being a man is really about? As he spoke, he began to cry and fall apart, and I joined him. For the first time in my life, I cried in front of another man. He took off his mask and became vulnerable, decided it's okay not to be okay, and poured out his heart. This conversation finally taught me that showing vulnerability is not a sign of weakness, that showing vulnerability is the ultimate display of strength. He showed me what it really means to be a man. This conversation changed my life because I learned that I don't have to hide anymore, that I could open up and be vulnerable without fear of what others think, that I can rewrite the script of what it means to be a man. Our society has unrealistic expectations of masculinity. Our campus has unrealistic expectations of masculinity. I had unrealistic expectations of masculinity. It's time for a change. It's time that we teach our boys who look up to us the same way that I look up to my father what being a man is really about. Dear childhood me, these next years are going to be difficult. There will be times when you are overwhelmingly happy, but there will also be times when you're devastatingly upset. Regardless of how you feel, you should be comfortable expressing it. Because just like it's okay to laugh, it's okay to cry and be scared, and just like it's okay to be strong, it's okay to fall apart. Be comfortable with who you are, and don't let anyone prevent you from expressing your true self. Love the man you're soon to be.